Hello vinyl community, Mark here again from Sound Matters, covering all things vinyl. As always, I've got an exciting turntable review for you today. I'm looking at the Fluance RT81 Plus. So this is the latest incarnation of their very popular entry-level turntable. So the Canadian-based company Fluance really revolutionised the turntable market over the last few years, impressing a lot of people with the value that they packed in particular to models like the RT81 and the RT82. So the question is, can the RT81 Plus build on this legacy? In this video today, we're going to find out. So there are a number of differences with the RT81 Plus over the original RT81. The first difference that is, I think, probably the most welcome of all is the inclusion of adjustable isolation feet. So it now has the spike style isolation feet, which are basically, I think, the same as the ones that come with the next model up, the RT82. These are screw adjustable, and you can use the provided spirit bubble that they very kindly ship with the product to make sure that your turntable is level, which is, of course, critical for accurate tracking of the record groove. These isolation feet being spike styles as well, unlike the original ones which had a larger surface area, it helps to minimize the amount of unwanted vibrations that can make it back into your plinth and your platter and ultimately into the cartridge, back into the audio system. We want to minimize that as much as possible. Now, I tried this turntable out in my living room. I live in an older home with a wooden suspended floor in the living room, which can be pretty tricky when you've got a herd of children running their way through the living room. It often feels like a herd of elephants is going through that room, and I often worry that the stylus is going to jump right out of the groove. This was not a problem in the slightest with the RT81 Plus, so that really impressed me. Another crucial upgrade though with the RT81 Plus in the name of controlling unwanted resonance is the fact that it now ships with a acrylic platter mat. This replaces the original rubber mat with the RT81. This is a superior product in my eyes in the name of controlling resonance. Not only is it really dead sounding, so it's great for dampening any resonance that might come off that aluminium or aluminum, as you would say in the US platter that comes with the RT81 Plus, but the great thing about acrylic and why it's become so popular as a platter material is the fact that it basically kind of creates a coupling effect between the vinyl and the platter mat or platter surface. This is because acrylic and vinyl are essentially basically the same sort of material, and so it makes it easier for any vibrations caused by the actual stylus rocking in the groove to diffuse away from the record and out of the way of the cartridge, and ultimately less of that gets back into the audio system. This is the theory behind why acrylic platters are so desirable. The other significant change with the RT81 Plus is it now ships with the next generation Audio Technica cartridge. So it comes with the VM95E, which replaces the old AT95E that came with the original RT81. So there are some changes to this cartridge body in that it's easier to mount. There's no more bolts required in the mounting process. Not that you'll have to worry about this with the RT81 Plus anyway, because it comes pre-mounted to the head shell, ready to go straight out of the box. But I think more significantly with the new VM95 cartridge series is that you can easily swap out the stylus in a similar way that you can with some of the Autophon cartridges. So with the VM95 series, it comes with that elliptical styli, but you can change it out for a nude elliptical stylus, which is, I guess, the equivalent of the Autophon 2M blue, so upgrading from the red to the blue. You can also change out for a micro linear stylus and even a Shibata stylus as well. So you've got that upgrade path without even having to change the cartridge. So it gives you a real upgradable series that you can delve into as and when you may feel like it or feel like you're ready to upgrade. Also of note is the fact that the RT81 Plus still retains that built-in Texas Instruments phono stage and also has that auto stop function, both of which can be turned on or off very easily at the back of the turntable. Before we move on to the listening stage of this review, I did want to share with you some of my first impressions when I started using the RT81 Plus. The first thing that struck me is just how solid this thing is for a turntable costing just $300 or £300 if you're in the UK like me. Now, it's miles above the competition in terms of just how solid this feels. I am used to seeing solid MDF platters like this in much higher end models, and you might remember from my review of the Project E1, which is priced actually $50 more than this turntable, that it came with that composite fibre plinth and the ABS polymer platter, both of which are incredibly light. And although I do rate that turntable and it tracks records very, very well, it did make the whole thing feel very light and flimsy in comparison to the RT81 Plus. There are always pros and cons to any design, of course, and the likes of Project and Riga certainly have a very different ethos when it comes to designing affordable turntables. They very much have the opinion that you cut the frills and the bells and whistles as much as you may need to do so to keep the cost low and retain those core tracking components in place that are crucial for audiophile trackability. With the Fluance designs, there's perhaps a little bit more balance between the look and feel and the weight of the design versus the trackability and the, I guess, traditional audiophile viewpoint. So what is undoubtable, though, is that the RT81 Plus exerts a sense of quality and look and feel that I think is well above its price tag. Another element that really impressed me was the speed control, and in my opinion this feels more luxurious to use than my Technics SL1500C, the stop-start button on that, and it also feels nicer to use than the controls on my Project X1. When you consider the difference in the price tag, I think this is incredibly impressive stuff from Fluance. And now we go on to the listening test. The supplied phono cartridge usually carries the overall sound signature of a turntable setup. Audio-Technica's VM95E has a superb authority in the low end, but is much more reserved in the high frequencies compared to my usual Autophon 2M Red or 2M Blue. Some people may actually find this a little bit more balanced, as the Autophon cartridges have got a reputation for producing more extended, dynamic, high frequencies. But if you think the more forward sound of the 2M Red could actually be your thing, then you can always mount one to a second head shell and run comparisons for yourself to see which one you prefer. In many cases, the warmer, more reserved quality of the VM95E might actually suit your setup better. For example, when I hooked the RT81 Plus into my Mani 2 phono preamplifier, which to my ear sounds a little more forward in the upper mid to high frequencies, this actually helped to extend the otherwise quite restrained top end of the VM95E. It's worth mentioning that I did spend some time with the built-in phono stage on the RT81 Plus, and you know, it sounds pretty good. It's just as competent, I would say, as the built-in phono preamp on my integrated amplifier, which makes it a great option for anyone who's just starting out. One of the records I used to sound check the RT81 Plus was a VMP recent reissue of Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak, and I was impressed by the overall weight of the sound. Now, weight in audio terms can often lead to a muddy sound, but not in this instance, as the RT81 Plus manages to retain an alluring level of punch and clarity. This quality is heightened even further when paired with a great external phono stage. Again, the Mani 2 mentioned earlier is a great fit at this price point. In doing so, the high frequencies open up and the low mids become more focused and rhythmic. Dynamics in general become more pronounced, and instrument separation, particularly in the mid-range, sounds more refined. Compared with Project's entry-level offerings, the RT81 Plus is arguably a little less nimble on its feet, maybe less agile, particularly in those high frequencies, but that said, the Project models simply can't compete when it comes to the sheer weight of sound on offer here. But you know, the absolute bottom line here is that the Fluance RT81 Plus is an unbelievably well-built turntable for the price in what is an increasingly competitive market. Fluance actually have a distinct advantage here. They operate a direct-to-consumer model as opposed to the more traditional distributor and dealers model. With traditional distribution models, it can make producing a deck this solid at such an affordable price challenging at best. Not only is the plinth one of the most solid of any budget deck I've seen at this sort of price point, but the wood veneer finish that it has is also remarkably convincing, making the RT81 Plus not only sonically compelling, but also really beautiful to look at. Add in the adjustable feet and the inclusion of the acrylic platter mat, and I begin to wonder how Fluance make any money whatsoever. I think what we're seeing here are the distinct advantages of that direct-to-consumer business model. As I've touched on earlier, some of the Project and Riga models I've heard at this price point might be more agile, maybe have a little more finesse and reach in the high frequencies, but they can't compete with the weight and strength of the RT81 Plus. As mentioned, pair the RT81 Plus with the right phono preamp and you can help extend some of that reach and air. So before we wrap up, the question remains, is this the best budget turntable money can buy? Well, it's certainly hard to see another competitor at this price point quite getting the balance between sound quality, usability and durability quite so spot on. Bravo, Fluance. One final consideration before you press the buy button is, do you really need the internal phono preamp? If in your case you don't, it's worth considering if the Fluance RT82 might actually suit your needs better. From the RT82 up in the Fluance range, the motor gets significantly upgraded and is isolated from the platter. It also becomes possible to upgrade the platter from the stock aluminium version to an acrylic platter. This is food for thought, as the base RT82 currently costs the same as the RT81 Plus. So that concludes the review. As always, drop your thoughts and questions down in that comments box, and while you're here, do check out the description where there is a direct link to this product where you can buy it. I get a small commission if it's through Amazon, no extra cost to you, but also there are our sponsors and partners where there's discount codes which you can use, again, no extra cost to you, and it helps support this channel. The likes of Groove Washer, fantastic record cleaning products, 12-inch great record display systems, vinyl storage solutions for all your record sleeves needs, and also vintage vinyl from vinylpursuit.com. They ultrasonic clean all of their records before shipping to you. I appreciate your support. Check it out in your own time, guys, and let me know again your thoughts down in those comments section as always. But if you're new to this channel, do consider subscribing. But until that next video, keep spinning.